You say you're a follower of Jesus. What do your prayers look like?
Jesus teaches us how to pray, and it's called the Lord's Prayer. And inside the Lord's Prayer, so Jesus tells you how to live an incredible life. So he teaches you how to pray. So it's like you have a relationship with Jesus. Okay, perfect. Well, who was Jesus praying to? He was praying to the Father. Okay, well, so you pray to the Father. Okay, and what did he pray? Father, thou art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So blessing God first. Give us today our daily bread. So just give me what I need. Everything else is abundance. May your will be done on earth just as it is in heaven. So whatever your purpose is, let it be manifested on earth. Forgive us as we forgive those that trespass against us. So God will give you in proportion to how you treat others. Jesus teaches you how to live, teaches you how to pray. My communication with God, my communication with what I believe to be the source of divinity is the request for discernment and wisdom. When you ask God for something, he'll give it to you because he says he'll give it to you. Knock, and it shall be answered unto you. Seek, and you shall find. It's not seek and maybe you will find.
Yeah.
No, you will find. You may find something that you weren't looking for, though. You may ask for patience, and God may give you a really hard situation that'll teach you patience. He may not give you patience automatically. You may ask God for strength, and he might put you through a really tough, tumultuous situation to help you develop strength. So God may give you what you want, but not in the form that you ask for it, which is really interesting because God tends to work that way. But in the pain, we're carved. In the success and in the pleasure, we tend to get arrogant. We tend to get blinded. So my relationship with God was one where I surrendered myself to the idea of truth. I had a conversation with God once, and this is when my life changed completely. I said, God, I today surrender everything to you. My relationships, my business, my money, myself, my mindset, my belief system, for the pursuit of truth. If you show me truth, I promise you, I will follow it. And if you follow the truth continues to show itself to you. To whom much is given, much is required. So if God's going to give you a lot of resources, talent, he's going to expect a lot from that. So you have to develop into those things. And then God starts giving you things. And then you begin to read people like Solomon when he talks about Lamentations in the book of Lamentations, that everything is a vanity. Vanity of vanities. He has 1,000 women. He has palaces. He has kingdoms. He says it's not worth it. Okay. Then in the book of Ecclesiastes, he says, from dust to dust. You came from the dust. You will go back to the dust. The king is the same skeletal build out than the peasant. It doesn't really matter. So you begin to listen to the wisdom. And then you begin to understand the words of Jesus, where he says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So everybody says, do you believe in God? No. Because Jesus doesn't say, believe and you will be free. It says, know the truth. And what does Jesus say that he is? The way, the truth, and the life. So if he's the truth, following him will lead to freedom. So if I believe that to be true, then the job is to be a follower of Jesus. And by following Jesus, you obtain freedom. And following means following. It doesn't mean you do what you want 82% of the time, and then 18% of the time, Jesus is a lucky charm that you tap into for good benevolence and luck. It doesn't work that way because God isn't a luck charm. It doesn't work that way. And then it's understanding that the rain falls on the just and the unjust. What this means is that good times and good situations and bad times and bad situations don't just happen to good or bad people. Everybody experiences pain. Everybody experiences good things in life. But inside of these experiences, your goal is to not lose yourself. People pursue money. They gain all these things. But what does a man gain, right? Or what does a man profit if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul in the process? gains nothing. He lost the game. He missed the point.
Yeah.
He missed the point. So when I think about wisdom, I think about Jesus. I think about how he treats people. I think about how he treats women in a time where women were disdained, were thought of as property, where he talks about, looking upon another woman that isn't your own is just as bad as adultery. Being angry at your neighbor is just as bad as murder. So he sets a completely new standard for what it means to achieve excellence. And he says, hey, you know what? You can't do it. So how do you do it? And then you begin to read what the development of the spiritual journey is. And there's something that one encounters known as the fruits of the Spirit. You often hear the comment, like, you shall know them by their fruits, or you shall know them by their actions. Actions speak louder than what?
Words.
Correct. So by the actions, you will see what they are. A lemon tree cannot produce apples because it would be an apple tree. So it doesn't matter how many times the lemon tree identifies as an apple tree. If it produces lemons, it's a lemon tree. So if you call yourself a Christian, it doesn't matter what you say. What does your life reflect? If you call yourself a follower of Jesus, it doesn't matter what you say. What does your life reflect? And it's all about the fruits, the results. Faith without works is dead. Talk about faith in action. But there's these fruits of the Spirit. So it's like, okay, well, you have this transformation. You're becoming a better person. You're getting closer to God, which makes you, develops you and takes out all the toxicity inside of you. And you begin to hear about what are these fruits. Fruits are, we're talking about these manifestations that come out. And you have something called the fruit of the Spirit. Galatians chapter 5, verse 22. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faith, gentleness, self-control. These are the things that come, that naturally are birthed, right? The good things are birthed from a relationship with God, not from forced. So when people are like, oh, you have to work hard to be a good person. No. You have to be transformed, like Jesus says, and like Paul talks about in the New Testament, by the renewal of your mind. You're not transformed by going to church and listening to the pastor talk to you about what God says. No. You're transformed by the renewal of your mind. So by renewing your mind, you get transformed. How do you renew your mind? Wisdom. What is wisdom? Knowledge put into practice. Concepts manifested in the three-dimensional realm into action that determines whether you took the intelligence or the knowledge and you applied it towards giving you a better outcome in life. And when you apply wisdom, then the outcome, the reverberating effect or the echo or the feedback is truth.
Yeah.
And you get to decipher whether something is real or not. It's called the scientific method. Science is the exploration of truth. The scientific method is what? Observation, hypothesis, thesis, analysis, testing, cross-testing, and coming down to a conclusion, and then optimizing. That's what we do with truth. It's the process of the scientific method. Science is one of the most spiritual things in the world. It's a combination of understanding that we're just pursuing truth. And you talk about whether it's theology, whether it's with philosophy. Like, what is philos? What is philosophy? People talk, you see all these philosophy channels. Well, what is philos? Philosophy. Philos means wisdom. Philosophy is the study of wisdom. How do you study wisdom? How? That needs to be discovered. Because if wisdom is what inclines you towards better choices in life, then the pursuit isn't to make better choices. The pursuit is to find what? Wisdom that will change you from the inside out. And that manifestation and that change will reflect into a new life.
Beautifully said. What music do you think is demonic? And what music do you listen to now?
Bro, so I tapped into this new ADHD music. So I tapped into this new ADHD music. I think it's called the brown noise, or dark noise, something like that. And that's pretty much what I'm tuned into, because I can't work or think and have music and lyrics because I'm thinking about the lyrics and I'm thinking about the music. So I operate in a very silent space. Anything to me that is commercially available for the ants and the NPCs and people whose intentions I don't align with or whose worldviews I know are corrupted by evil, I'm not going to listen to them.
Yeah.
Why? Because from a vibrational frequency perspective, from a sound perspective, from a lyrical perspective, from the fact that I don't give a fuck whether they get rich or the fact that they don't give a shit about me. They're just utilizing me. I'm not going to consume their stuff. So it's pretty much understanding that music, what you watch, what you eat, who you hang out with, it's all feeding. It's all feeds. You feed into your ears, you feed into your eyes, you feed into your mouth. So if you fast from certain foods because you know that they're not good for you, why wouldn't you fast from certain music? Why wouldn't you fast from certain things that you are supposed to see? Why wouldn't you fast from certain women that you would sleep with? You should. You should fast in all areas of life. It's called discipline. It's called self-regulation. It's what gives you control. It's what gives you power. I've come to realize in my life, wrapping up, that the people that win long-term are the people that make it so hard to lose that it becomes easy to win. Imagine you just set yourself up for success. You open up your fridge, it's set up for success. You open up your calendar, it's set up for success. You open up your relationship, it's set up for success. You open up your YouTube, it's set up for success. You open up your phone book, your contacts, it's set up for success. People are walking around, brother, and they're setting themselves up for failure.
Yeah.
They wake up, they're on their phones till 12 in the bed scrolling. They don't study, they don't learn, they don't self-develop. Imagine you made it so hard to lose that winning was just kind of like inevitable. So set up the systems in your life. If you're trying to lose weight, don't have junk food inside of your fridge. Get rid of it. Just have the essentials and the whole foods that you need so that you're not tempted. Half of the battle is the temptation. Half of the battle is going through do you know how much energy is expended in the battle of things that you're supposed to purge from your life? Just get rid of them completely. Don't even have them in your mental real estate and focus on making it so hard to lose that it becomes easy to win. People are just trying to make it win, win, win. No, just get rid of the hard shit, your deficits, and the rest will just flourish.
I find it funny you say this. Before the podcast, we were actually talking, and I was like, I started this as like a quest for truth, right? And finding what is the thing that makes all these people successful? Like, what is the thing they're doing? What are the things they're doing? I'm like, oh no, it's something they're not doing. I noticed that all the most successful guests don't drink alcohol, right? They sleep at a decent time. They're avoiding certain foods. They're not becoming like lazy and like sitting in bed all day. You know, it's about the things that you don't do that differentiates you rather than the things that you do. Who's the most impressive person you've ever met?
Who's the most impressive person I've ever met? I've never thought about that question. It's actually a really good one. A lot of people come to mind. I'm highly impressed by a lot of people. I don't know.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice that I ever received is that you are what you think about. Everything that you think about, you become. You become what you think about. Thoughts lead to actions. Actions lead to behaviors. Behaviors leads to lifestyle. Lifestyle determines your destiny. So everything begins in the mind. If you can control and wield your mind, you can very much determine your destiny. If you can determine that regardless of what your mind says, you will go to the gym, you will develop a physique unlike 99% of society. If you decide to work on your business and you decide and you commit and you determine your mindset and you wield it, you can become successful. If you determine to be a studious individual and knowledgeable, you will be knowledgeable. If you determine to be rich, you'll be rich. Everything is in your control. And I've said it once and I'll say it again. Broke people and successful people are both self-made, but only the rich and successful will admit it. They're the only ones that will admit it. The person that's broke, that's struggling, it's hard for them to admit that they are there because of the way that they think. But they are there because of the way that they think. Not only that, but it's also understanding that you can't solve the problems in your life with the same information that caused the problems in the first place. Yeah. You need new information. So you need to become a new person. You become a new person by what? Adopting wisdom, transforming your mind. So that's my data set. That's my information. And I think that at a macro level, if you can control your mind, control your habits, control what you feed into your system, into your soul, into your body, through your eyes, through your ears, you can very much control your future and your destiny. The biggest piece of advice that I've gotten is you are what you think about. Control your mind and control your future.